Good morning, Mother Opers. It is Weigh-In Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. So we'll just kind of knock that out already. So I weighed in this morning at a disappointing 316 pounds. And throughout this last week, I've been gaining weight. So I've gained 5 pounds in the last week. And I've been trying some different things with my diet. And so as I fight through those different things, I'm not going to get into a whole lot, but as I fight through those changes that I'm trying to make, my body's, it's responding, but not in a way that I want to. Now, for most people, when you gain weight, especially if you're on a weight loss journey, it's very discouraging, and it forces a lot of people to actually quit what they're doing. And luckily for myself, well, I say lucky, but for myself, I've been through this before, and so I know exactly what to expect, and I'm not too worried about the fact that I've just lost this, or just gained all this weight. So even though it sucks, it's not the end of the world. It's not a reason to quit. I just got to keep fighting through the diet, and I'm not exercising enough. Doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is great. It's a good start, but it's not enough. It's also what I've been doing, these hour rides. They're not optimal for fat loss. So the other thing that I've done in the last couple of days is I've figured out how to create my own workouts. And so when I feel like I'm ready, I'm going to be testing those out. I'll probably be doing that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I probably won't stream that activity. So, I eventually will stream it once I feel comfortable with what I've designed. But that's one of the things that's nice about Zwift. And from what I'm told, it's one of the better programs for designing your own workouts. And so I plan to test that out maybe tomorrow. Honestly, I should have done it yesterday or last night, and I don't know, just wasn't motivated after work. We've been very slow at work, and it's tough to keep your energy up when there's not much to do. I work better in a busy environment, a hectic environment, and so the fact that we've been fairly slow is not necessarily a good thing. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna go to Facebook Live and make sure that that's actually up and running. Alright, so we're good there. One of the things I appreciate everybody that joins on, even if it's after the fact and you watch the video for a short minute and you give me a thumbs up. All of that helps. My cousin Rob, I appreciate you. You're always there later on in the day, and just knowing that you guys are there helps me stay accountable to get up and do this. I don't ever want to do it, or I don't always want to do it. Yeah, frozen again, so, or really still. So I don't know why this problem came back this morning. I noticed it coming back again. So what I'm going to do, because I'm riding and I don't want the distraction, is we're just going to turn that off. And we're just going to, I don't think it'll matter to anybody that I'm not on there. So the only thing that I changed that could have caused it, it could be a Facebook thing, honestly, but my last few streams with Facebook, it hasn't happened. The only thing that I've changed is I added my current weight, which that shouldn't cause anything. And then I added a new Bluetooth device, which is this small little earbud that I have right here. And I'm testing that out. because my other earbuds, when it comes to riding, one, I don't like having it in both ears, and two, though I highly recommend the JBL earbuds that I wear, they're difficult to wear while I'm riding and streaming. So I am assuming that possibly the Bluetooth is it. But all this does is, it's no secret agent stuff. It's just it just lets me stream the music in my ear and not get in the way of. Let's see here. Awesome. What trainer did you buy, Tina? Anyways, catch everybody up to speed. Anybody that's never been here before, my name is Dave Bernard. I'm a 47-year-old fat man who was told January 4th of 2019 that I was too fat to have a surgery that I need, which is an umbilical hernia operation. And it's not that I couldn't have the surgery, it's just that it came with more risk at my current level of fat. I've been powerlifting for quite a few years now, and that was just an excuse to overeat. So it is what it is. I'm on the bike, so I'm on my Raleigh Willard 2 gravel bike attached to a Wahoo Kickr 18, and of course a whole bunch of other fun contraptions. And I'm finally, after about a month or so in, getting my ass used to riding again. So, and I mean literally my ass getting back to where everything is more comfortable and I can actually start riding on some of the training plans. I have designed a couple of interval training plans for myself to do, and we'll see how that goes. One thing that I like to do in the past when it came to interval training, and I did this more on an elliptical trainer, was that I would go 90 seconds nice and easy, and then 30 seconds of it as fast as I could go, or hard as I could go. And that worked really well for me. I always did that at the end of my workouts. So if I went to the gym, I'd warm up, I'd go weight lift, and then I'd come back and finish up with that interval. And that was effective for me. Well, one of the things that I did in this interval creation that I did yesterday was to put that same kind of thing together, other than you can only really do it with watts. And I can't remember the other measurements, but so we'll see how it goes, because as hard as you can go doesn't necessarily mean a certain wattage. And the idea behind it being effective in the past was it was always as hard as I could go or fast as I could go that particular day. And it never, you know, there was never a restriction of anything, of watts or anything like that. Well, right now it's the Kickr 18 that's able to handle my weight, and that I don't take any offense at all. But I guess we're putting it through its durability test. I would like to, you know, the goal here is to get down to 244 pounds or a BMI of 35. I'm not sure what the kilograms are on that conversion, but and here's another thing. I thought I had switched this over to metric again, and it looks like when I got started it's still at the imperial system, so whatever. For some reason I keep getting that wrong. I am happy to see you guys this morning. It does, like I said, I mean, this whole streaming thing, it's not necessary obviously, but it motivates me to get up just knowing that people are going to be there to cheer me on and give me advice and say all the the nice things that they've said, and I'm okay if they say negative things too. I've got broad shoulders, I can handle it. So you know, the funny thing about how much weight can this thing handle, if there is a weight limit, it wasn't even a consideration of mine to see if this thing can handle my weight. So I guess if it breaks, we'll find out. And I looked at a lot of options and as far as which trainer to buy, and I think at the end of the day, you know, the company that won out on the marketing is who I chose, because I didn't have enough experience to make a decision on my own. And then I found a local bike shop that actually sold the Wahoo Kickr, and I liked keeping the business local, so that was good. I was happy with the fact that they were able to set everything up for me initially. And I didn't have, you know, the Kickr 18 I think comes with an 11-speed cog, and I run a 9-speed cog on this gravel bike, so they were able to swap that out for free, which was awesome for me. What was funny about the cycling shop that I bought mine from was that they were willing to come out to my house, which is over an hour away, to set everything up. And because I live back on 2,000 acres, and it's a rough little 2-track that you've got to come down, I decided that I'd just take everything to them. My road will eat up any small cars or SUVs, so I didn't feel like putting them through that. I'm trying to read through the messages right now. Good morning, Carrie. If any of you locally are interested in what I'm doing and want a little more information, just let me know and I'll fill you in on all the equipment I'm using to do this. This was a fun little experiment to get everything set up and running properly for me. The streaming part of it was a bit of a challenge, and there was an investment that I ended up having to make, even though I tried to do it very cheap in the beginning. So I am still having some glitches. For whatever reason this morning, my camcorder through my cam link, my Elgato cam link, froze everything up, and that hasn't happened in a couple of weeks now, so I'm not sure what caused it, other than possibly the new Bluetooth device I introduced, which again, I don't know why that would cause it, but it is what it is. I do have to get my weight under control again. You know, the food, the eating, that's my biggest nemesis. And overeating, not necessarily eating the wrong things, but definitely overeating is a problem. What I've changed in the last week, and I've gained weight unfortunately, is that I decided to start adding a heavy dose of fresh vegetables to my meals, and I'm trying to do that with, I'm attempting to make sure that I'm eating those vegetables before I eat any of my proteins, and that's just to trick my body into not feeling hungry is the idea. Not to mention I need to do it anyways. So so I don't know that that's caused it or whatever. it does have a definite higher sodium level, the foods that I'm currently eating, and so there could be some water retention from that, and that just means I don't have a sodium issue, so I've been tested enough to know that my sodium levels are fine, so I don't have to watch my sodium intake so much. But, well, let's see if I can catch up to these guys. Holy shit. Man, I'm cranking it. I can't even get close. Oh, am I? Well, maybe I'm going to get close to these guys. Anyways, so one of the things that I'm failing at is I'm probably not drinking enough water. So that's something that I'm going to have to work on daily. Is since I'm increasing my sodium level with the food I'm eating, I'm probably going to have to start paying attention to how much water I drink, which is something you should do anyways. Yeah, I'm the same way as far as the eating goes. I did it last night. I mean, if I was to criticize myself daily, it's that late night snacking that gets me. And I didn't do much, but I had a few chips, some hummus. I don't know how much, and that's part of it. It wasn't controlled by any means. And it was, once I was sitting on the couch when I was doing that kind of snacking, and I know better. I just got to get my mind right. That's all it is. You know, I got to fight through those urges. One of the tricks I used back in 2012 was that I would actually drink room temperature water whenever I felt the urge to eat, and that seemed to fill my belly up. And there's some studies behind the temperature of the water, of what it actually does to you from a physiological standpoint. And so the studies basically say that if you want to feel full, drink room temperature water. If you're trying to get the water into your cells faster, drink colder water, colder temperature water to get it into your body fast. And so there's definitely different parts of the types of training that you do that matters. Now, you can't always control that when you're on a bike ride. A lot of times you can't control what the temperature is. Of course, in most cases your water's more of an ambient temperature when you're riding eventually. But that's just in general. That's a trick I used in the past. And I'll be honest with you, whether it's real or not real, in my head, from a placebo standpoint, it's real. So F you guys if you're going to tell me it's not, because it works for me. And you know, that's the funny thing about all of this, is that that's the case for a lot of stuff. My friend and I talk a lot about diets and the fact that they all can work. You know, if you follow them, they all can work. They all can. Well, I don't know who's in front of me here, but this is a nice little horse pace for me. So don't ever discourage somebody if they decide to try something, because I promise you, if they follow pretty much every diet out there, they all can work for you. So if in your mind you believe it's going to work, and you've seen a friend have success doing something and you want to try it, go for it, and ignore everybody out there when it comes to the negativity. You know, it's one of the things I found, even though I had a lot of supporters in the beginning, once I started having success with my weight loss, a lot of those supporters turned into kind of like doubters, you know? Like they wanted to almost tear down what I had done and what I was doing. They wanted to say, well, it doesn't work. In the beginning, a lot of them said it wouldn't work. And luckily, I was strong-minded enough that I didn't listen to them. And I kept moving forward. Because that transformation wouldn't have happened if I'd have listened to some of my closest friends, you know, they told me, nope, what you're doing, what you're eating is wrong. The supplements you're taking are wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong. Well, secretly, a lot of those people didn't remember that I actually have a degree in this nonsense. And they don't. And so I knew that what worked for them wasn't necessarily what was going to work for me. And my biggest problem back then, and I think a lot of people relate to this, is that most of their suggestions was to eat real food, which is a great suggestion. It is obviously what we'd all like to do. Problem was, I don't cook. And so meal prep and doing all the things that they said wasn't realistic for me at the time. And so following the plan that I was on is what worked for me back in 2012. Now, it wasn't easy, and I was very blinded to all of that. And so when you think about it, you know, guys, I just kind of remembered another thing that might be causing this freeze up. I actually added Mixer to my stream that I've never done before. So I added a Mixer account just to test it, and I'm wondering if that isn't set up improperly. It's possible that's what's caused all this. Anyways, so my advice for all of you as far as what kind of a diet plan you go on or training plan that you go on, whatever works for you, as far as whatever's interesting to you. If you see success from somebody else and you want to do what they're doing, just do it. Don't worry about all the people that are going to tell you no, or that it won't work, or that you shouldn't do it, or that, you know, for me the alternative is sitting on the couch and doing nothing. One thing though, as it relates to weight, the question of weight and what trainers out there that can handle my weight, I never looked into that, and I probably should have. But I can tell you that a lot of my bikes can't handle my weight. So I've bent many rims on my road bikes, just hitting bumps. I've blown out several tires. I can't run them at full pressure of what the tire allows, because if I hit a bump at all, or in some cases if I even get on the bike, it unfortunately they usually pop. So Hydroxycut. You know, the funny thing about Hydroxycut is that that's been around for a very long time. They've changed the formula over the years. I think the original formula for most people worked. In the old days, old days, we used to use what we called the stack to produce what Hydroxycut basically did. And so what we would do, and you can't do this anymore because it's not available over the counter, but we would use aspirin, caffeine, and I think it was epinephrine to do the same thing of what Hydroxycut, the original formula, was doing. And so the aspirin would actually thin your blood, which allowed everything to flow into your blood easier, or into your system quicker, or with less resistance. And then the caffeine was obviously to increase your energy for your workouts. And then the other factor is oxygen, and a trick to get your almost your VO2 going. You know, it's hard to think and ride at the same time, but anyways, so the epinephrine was a bronchulator, so it opened up your airways, allowed more oxygen in. So now you've got a thin blood, more oxygen, along with a kick of energy from the caffeine, and that would actually take you through a workout if you knew the right mix for yourself. Of course, most people didn't. They'd overdo it, and of course it was very dangerous. And for me right now, using a lot of those products, I can't use them at all. My blood pressure is, because of my weight, is something I have to continuously monitor, and those particular types of products end up elevating my blood pressure to a dangerous level, and so I stay away from them. I actually use First Form supplements now. I will give a plug. I'm shamelessly going to give a plug. So firstform.com/Dave Bernard if you want to look at any of those products. But I use the King system. That King product is extremely powerful, and though I knew I probably shouldn't try it, I went ahead and bought a bottle of it, and got to a point where I was extremely tired all day long, and I knew something was wrong. So I got back on my blood pressure monitor, and sure enough, I did 3 days in a row of testing after I'd been on it for a week, and my blood pressure was highly elevated. So I had to get off of it pretty quick. So for me, it's just one of those things where I've got to be careful with it. But as far as Hydroxycut, you know, a lot of products, and I believe that product also, you've got to be on it for a long term for you to truly feel the effects of it. All right, 185, 187. You know, here's the problem. The cut phase is, so you ride 4 times, 5 to 7 hours. It's a lot of riding. So one of the mistakes that I think people make when they're trying to cut out, especially with high levels of exercise, is that they don't eat enough. And so eating at the right time, eating the right supplements in order to recover quickly is part of it. Oh, 5 to 7 hours total. Yeah, I mean, 1 to 2 hours at a time. You know, I think that without question on your 2-hour days, you really need to fuel up within 30 minutes of that final exercise, just to give your metabolism the ability to stay intact. If you go beyond 30 minutes, studies basically find that you can almost have the reverse effect of what your goal is. But for me, intervals are the best way to cut fat. And it's not, I mean, calories in, calories out matter. So if you're willing to count calories, the bottom line of how you should handle that is that you should be taking in around 400 calories less than what you're expending throughout the day. And so if you're pushing out 2,000 calories a day, and that means that you should only be intaking around 1,600 calories. So calories in, calories out plays a part in it when you're trying to cut, but how you eat and when you eat also matters. So obviously everybody's going to tell you the same thing. This isn't a surprise, but eating 6 to 8 small meals per day, and then we call it meals, but a lot of them are just little snacks. So yeah, being caloric deficient is what's going to matter. But I know for a fact that when you hit that plateau of weight loss, that you truly have to make sure that you're putting food in your body as soon as you get down with those more intense workouts. So I would say a more intense workout is going to be something like 2 hours for you. If your average ends up being an hour, so 2 hours of working out is going to be something that you would want to make sure you're eating right immediately after. Or even if you did an hour workout, but it was a heavy interval, and it was definitely something that took a lot of your energy, then you're going to want to eat right for that. So I found, for me, back in 2012, that when I really went after it, that I'd have to make sure I fueled up significantly after a workout. Now, I also did that. I also found that when I did like squat days and stuff like that, when I was into weightlifting, same thing. My recovery was much better if I could eat a lot of food as soon as I got done with a leg workout. So if I was in a heavy squat day, because of the size of the muscles and how much I worked them, I had to really eat a lot after those workouts to optimize my performance and my gains or weight loss. And back exercises did it too. It's one of the problems with cycling is that even though we measure ourselves in watts, and that might be a good way, because I'm new to this part, it might be a good way to measure yourself, but if your average watts are, let's say, 20% or more above your normal average, then you want to feed yourself more calories afterwards. And I'm not going to get into the macro side of it at this point because I haven't thought it through enough, but you want to put a lot of calories in after a hard workout. I guess we'll just leave it at that. Anyways, so on to the topic of the day. It's 7:30. It's today's topic is dating in your 40s, and I'm single, and I've been single for a lot of years. This is not a dating profile video, but I'm just like a lot of people in their 40s. There's a lot of reasons that dating your 40s is a bit of a challenge, I think, but a lot of us have tended to lean towards online dating, and that's it's an interesting social experiment in my opinion. Just a little bit of data. According to The Observer, 45.2% of American adults are single, and 53% of those Americans are women. And so a lot of people, so for me, I don't drink a lot, you know, I mean, I drank when I was young, so I don't really like going to the bar. Plus I'm tone deaf, so I don't really understand what anybody's actually saying to me when I go to the bar. So for me personally, going to the bar or being in crowds isn't something I necessarily enjoy doing. So, you know, for me, I lean towards the online dating world. And I think there's a lot of reasons that adults in 2019 tend to go that way. And some of it's because they don't drink like me, or they have children like I do, and they just don't have the time to do that. They have a career. They don't have the time to do that. So they end up in this world of online dating, and it's become more acceptable over the years to use online dating. For me, obviously, I haven't had any success with it, but I know a lot of people have. But here's some advice I'll give you if you decide to go that route. One, don't make it your primary form of meeting somebody. Two, don't chat too long with anybody. If you do get a conversation going, find a way to meet them sooner than later, and we'll get into that. So, I mean, we have sites out there like Plenty of Fish, Match.com, Bumble, Tinder, and so on and so on. Zoosk, I think it's called, I don't know. And there's another element of online dating that is a bit sadistic in my opinion, is this whole swipe right, swipe left thing. And you know, it's like window shopping, and you know, you're not buying a pair of pants or shoes. You know, you're trying to look for a person to be with you for the rest of your life, and the idea that it's that quick 3 second opinion that you're either swiping left or right. In most cases, you're not even reading a profile. That's a little bit silly. because obviously looks are, you know, physical attraction means something, and for some people it means more than to others, but it's really getting to know a person and their personality that should matter more than anything else. And this idea of being online and not having true interaction and almost being a voyeur to somebody else is a little sick in some cases. So my advice as far as, and obviously I shouldn't be giving a lot of advice since I'm still single, but my advice is that you don't spend a lot of time chatting with somebody before you just take the time to go meet them. You know, for me, I find some other issues, which is, you know, trying to date somebody that is a long distance away. When you're young, you know, it doesn't matter so much. Like, you're still figuring out life. You're not setting anything. And you're willing to, you know, drive 30, 40, 50 miles to go meet somebody and have a relationship with those people, because you're open to the idea of anything is possible. But as you get older and your kids get older, you know, you feel locked in to the community that you live in. So it's hard to think, well, if I meet somebody who lives an hour north of me or an hour south of me, and 2 hours away from my kids in my situation, I don't see no matter how great of a person they are, no matter how attractive they may be to me, I just don't see myself taking the time to really get to know that person, primarily because I don't see the future with them. And then the other problem is that by the time you're in your 40s, now I'm 47, you know, a lot of men and women own their own homes. Well, that's a whole nother stressful dynamic to me, personally, because, you know, are they going to sell their home and move to me? Am I going to sell my home and move to, and you know, this is before I've even met anybody. So there's a lot of, I don't think this is as big of an issue for anybody that lives, you know, in a city. Obviously, you have a larger dating pool the more populated of an area you live in. But somebody like me who lives in a more rural area, it's definitely a consideration that when I meet somebody, that it becomes a bit of a challenge to think about the idea of what happens if this works out. And so you don't have to go to a bar, but I think that in today's day and age, you do got to figure out a way to meet up and see if you have anything to click. And I'm not saying that it's a problem if somebody was to move, but these are the considerations that I think about, at least. So, you know, dating in your 40s is definitely different than dating at least in your 20s. In your 20s, I think you can be more reckless and more optimistic to what every situation throws at you. But in your 40s, with a career and children and everything else, it's definitely a challenge. Online dating is a good option, but you need to stay off of that as much as possible. Find somebody you're interested in, get to know them, date them for as much as you can. Be open and honest with them about your feelings as far as your concerns, and don't preconceive what somebody else is thinking. The other problem that we run into is that, you know, of course you're going to put your best pictures online, and I think that can become a distraction when you meet somebody. So you just got to get past the idea that looks are everything, if that's one of your problems, and make sure that you're getting to know people for their personality. And of course you want to be attracted to them, but don't try to date supermodels, I guess is the point. Don't be looking for that greatest picture out there. You know, try to read their profiles, get to know them, chat for them a little bit, see if there's common interests, and then go meet each other. Find a way to do that. And I think that's the way to do it in your 40s. Now, I think as you get older, these problems go away. When your children are, and in your 40s, you could be in this situation already, but when your children are already out of the house, you know, and your career maybe is winding down, I think it's a little bit easier, but I don't wish anybody to wait till they're 65 or so to start dating. So, you know, I actually, I want to get that Zwift run pod too. Sorry to change the topic, but I just saw the comment there, and I'd like to try that myself. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this whole dating in your 40s deal. Good luck to everybody. Online dating, use it as a way to maybe get something, you know, to truly meet somebody, but don't stay on it too long. And good luck. Back to the ride. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to my ride as I was talking that time around. Now, because I don't have the camera on myself this time, I'm able to have my glasses off, which I'm sweating quite a bit today, so that's good. The problem with my glasses off is I can't really read the chats that well, so I apologize if I've misread anything that anybody's typed today. Woo! As you can see, if you just joined in, today is weigh-in Wednesday. I do weigh 316 pounds this morning, which is up 3 pounds from when I started in early January. So not only have I not lost any weight, I've actually gained weight, but not worried about it. I just got to keep pushing forward. I got to get down to 244 pounds by January 2020. So I know the goal. I just got to keep fighting through my overeating issues and my late night snacking. I can't do a whole lot about the fact that I'm very sedentary throughout the day. I sit at my job for hours and hours and hours at a time. And because it's a sales position, I don't really have a way to set a schedule as far as when I can get up and move. And so that's a challenge for me for sure. I've been doing this bike riding for over a month now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But I'm gonna have to start upping that. And whether it's just on a bike or doing some of the other things that I can do, I'm gonna have to do something. Because I'm not getting enough in. I have set a couple of interval trainings inside of Zwift for myself. And as I stated earlier, I really should have tried that out last night, and I just didn't. So I've set 2 different exercise interval trainings. Both involve 30 seconds of max effort, 30 seconds max effort, and then 90 seconds of rest, of basically just riding slow. And that's how they were designed. One's 30 minutes, one's an hour. One has a long warm-up with 10 intervals of that 30 seconds and 90 seconds of rest. And the other one is 30 minutes, and I think I have a 10-minute warm-up. I think it's a 10-minute warm-up, and then 8 intervals, and then a 5-minute cool down. So that's the one I'm probably going to try tomorrow, but I won't be streaming those in the beginning. What I have committed to is weighing in every Wednesday, and so I think that's going to help. That's one of the differences between now and in 2012 is that in 2012 I used to weigh in every Wednesday, and what I found myself doing is working really, really hard on Tuesday if I hadn't lost any weight yet, to make sure that I at least had no gain or loss, or at least a pound loss every Wednesday, because I didn't want to admit that I did something wrong. And so I'm using that same method this time around, and I just started it today, which is weighing in. And I have a scale that actually has a Bluetooth on it, and it goes directly to my phone, so I can keep track of everything. And as you can imagine, I really didn't want to tell you guys I gained 3 fucking pounds. but I want to be real, and I want to hold myself accountable. And so, if nothing else, jump on here every Wednesday just to see where I'm at, and give me the encouragement I need, man, because I definitely need it. You know, I do this for a couple of reasons. One, it's accountability. It's putting myself out there so that you guys can make sure that I'm sticking to what I say I wanted to do, or I was going to do. That's part of it. It's also to hopefully show some of you that it's possible to do it, to get it done. But by putting this out there the way that I am, there's no question or doubt that I have to do something, you know, or I have to tuck my head and hide away for a good while. And so I always appreciate everybody being on here, having the conversations, giving me advice, cheering me on, doing whatever it takes. And I'll be honest with you all the way through this of what I'm doing. And so if I'm changing things up, I'll let you know. But at the end of the day, I have to get to 244 pounds for my surgeon to feel comfortable with the umbilical surgery. And so, no question, that is the goal. And I'm going to get there one way or the other. And if for some reason cycling isn't going to do it for me, or the interval training doesn't work, when I start doing it on a bike, I'll find another way to do it. But I'll make sure that you guys stay on the journey with me somehow. It's not going to hurt me to do biking Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, however, even if I do other things, because it's just a good cardio workout. And so that's good for my heart, regardless of the weight loss. It's good for me to push myself. And I'm really not doing a lot. 139 beats per minute on my heart rate is not stressful, is not overly stressful, even though I weigh a lot. My danger zone would probably be 170. So if I get up to 170 for any length of time, I'm going to have to back it off. So I do use a heart rate monitor. I'm using the Wahoo Kickr wrist strap monitor. And I used to use a Mio brand wrist heart rate monitor, but I found it was difficult to keep it in position, and then it would fall off, or it was glitching. It's an older model. I don't even know if they even support it anymore. But so I went to the Wahoo Kickr heart rate monitor, which has been working great so far. I'm probably gonna have to invest in a few extra straps down the road. I'm only gonna be able to wash this one so many times from the reviews I've seen. Then it starts falling apart, but it's all part of the fun, man. Just spend more money, no big deal, right? It's a big deal. Oh, man. I definitely have to get a new saddle here in the near future. Just to make these rides more comfortable. If I'm going to go past an hour, I'm definitely going to have to change my seat. Because it seems to be right around this time, even though it's getting better, it seems to be right around this time is when I start to lose it a little bit on being comfortable. Oh. Whoa. Woo! That's it. I appreciate everybody coming along with me today. I know I didn't talk as much as normal. For some of you, that probably wasn't a bad thing. Anyways, if you guys, any of you guys want to get doing this with me, just reach out. I'll tell you what equipment I'm using, and we'll go from there. If any of you ladies see me on the dating websites, swipe right. Anyways, we'll ride at you later. Talk to you later, guys. Thanks for watching.